Hey everyone, it's Steven. Today I have the 2023 BMW X3 xDrive30i. This is BMW's bread and butter compact luxury SUV, which means it competes in a very crowded segment with other foes such as the Audi Q5, Mercedes-Benz GLC 300, Lexus NX, and a ton of other vehicles. BMW gave the X3 a light refresh in the 2022 model year, which gave it some new exterior design elements such as the infamous rear energy sword taillights that I actually really like, and otherwise some new elements in the grille and some refreshed tech on the interior. So that means for 2023, there wasn't actually that much that changed. I think they shuffled some packages here and there, but otherwise it's pretty much the same as the 2022. We do expect a fully redesigned X3 to be coming out probably in the 2025 model year, and we might see an electrified version of the X3 soon as well. So the base trim of the X3 is called the xDrive30i, which is actually rear-wheel drive. That one starts just above $45,000. This one is the xDrive30i, which means it is all-wheel drive, and that one starts at about $47,000. As tested, this one comes to about $55,000. It has the $4,100 M Sport package, which actually isn't available in the newer 2024 X3, which is kind of interesting. You do have some nice M elements. You'll notice these cool blacked out wheels. You'll also notice this car is very blacked out in general. You've got black, side elements and everything like that. Everything is pretty much blacked out on this vehicle. The grille, normally it's pretty chrome, but this one is all blacked out. I think actually it looks really nice and complements the sporty nature of this vehicle. So the base BMW X3 comes with a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder, and it makes 248 horsepower and 258 pound-feet of torque. If you want more power, you can opt up for the M40i or for the full X3M, which gives you crazy numbers, 0 to 60 in like less than 3.5 seconds. This one does 0 to 60 in about 6.2, 6.3 seconds or so, which is actually slower than the competition, which is really interesting because this car actually feels very quick on its feet, feels very light, but the Q5 and the GLC are actually faster than this, with 0 to 60 times of less than 6 seconds each. This car comes with an 8-speed automatic transmission, BMW's very classic 8-speed that has wonderfully quiet and smooth shifts. Really, really comfortable when you're driving this car on the freeway. You barely feel the gear shifts at all. And it gives you fuel economy numbers about 21 city, 28 highway for a combined 24 miles per gallon. All right, diving into the exterior of the 2023 X3, I love the looks of this vehicle. I actually don't really like black on black vehicles, but this car looks really, really nice. This color is called Black Sapphire Metallic, really shines in the light. Hard to keep clean, but looks really good. You've got a blacked out kidney grille. I really like how different the X3 can look in general if you have the chrome accents on the front or if you black out everything. I think this blacked out look is awesome with these full LED daytime running lights. They look really good. The turn signals are amber, and I just love the classic BMW design language. It looks really cool. You do have a lot of fake vents, throughout the entire vehicle actually. You got some fake vents on the sides here. This is actually part of the M Shadowline exterior, gives it some more different bracket looking things on the sides, but the grille looks a little different from the standard X3. So like I said, a lot of different design elements on this vehicle. And now moving along the side profile of this vehicle, you've got a typical pretty boxy look to this vehicle. Not as boxy as like the X1 or X5, but I expect in the redesign probably going to become a little boxier. So if you like the sleek look of this, probably get it right now before it gets redesigned. I will note that these 19-inch M spoke wheels are really, really cool. They actually have the M badge in there. You'll notice that's a theme throughout this whole vehicle because of that M Sport package. You get a lot of M's, but you don't get any horsepower, so I don't really know if it's worth it. You don't even really get a different suspension or anything, so I don't know. It's one of those like aesthetic packages that I kind of don't feel are worth it. But I do really like the look of this wheel, and you actually can't get this wheel in 2024. So I don't know. I love the black look. It really complements the entirely blacked out vehicle. Again, some fake vents on the side profile of this vehicle, blacked out mirror caps, everything is very blacked out window trim, and even high gloss black roof racks. Kind of a cool touch there. Moving along to the rear of this vehicle, this is where you see those energy sword taillights. I think they look really cool actually. When I first saw them, I didn't really like it, but they do stand out and they look good at night as well. You've got some more fake vents. They really like that on this vehicle. Obviously not too much to cool, honestly, so I would expect a lot of fake vents. You've got a nice rear diffuser at the bottom. Don't really know how functional it is. You do have some nice caps for your rear tailpipes. The exhaust actually sounds better than you would expect. Let's take a listen right now. That that is an impressive sounding exhaust, right? This is the base trim. This isn't even the M40i or the M, and this sounds way better than the Q5 or GLC in my opinion. And going into the actual trunk here, power liftgate as expected from a luxury vehicle, and you've got over 27 cubic feet of cargo space. This is actually class leading. This is a huge cargo space. Like I don't know how to demonstrate it aside from like getting it myself, but it is a very large cargo space and it is class leading, which I think is really cool. You can also fold the rear seats down. They fold 40-20-40, which is pretty neat if you want to put some different things in there. All right, let's take a look at the interior of the 2023 BMW X3. This one does have the keyless entry system, and where you walk towards the car, it automatically unlocks for you. And as you walk away, it automatically locks. Pretty neat feature that most newer BMWs have now. First thing that's obvious with this interior is this gorgeous Tacora red perforated Sensitech leather. A lot of words that basically mean that it is red, and I like that it's not like a bright red too. It's actually quite a darker, like maroonish type of red. It's definitely a nicer color than I would expect from some of the brighter sports cars, I guess. But yeah, it looks really good, and these seats are well bolstered and very comfortable, very contoured. You have a lot of adjustability. You've got a nice thigh rest, although this is a manual adjustable thing here. And you've got, of course, lumbar support for just the driver, but you do have power controls and stuff like that. I think it's like 14-way adjustable or something like that. And it is perforated, as you can see. You can get ventilated seats. This one doesn't. This one only has heated, but pretty nicely spec'd here with a nice, gorgeous dual pane pano sunroof as well. The interior looks quite impressive when you first get in this vehicle. And you can see that this one has the aluminum trim. It's super hot, so I'm going to turn on the car as soon as possible, but this one's got the aluminum trim throughout the vehicle. I think it looks okay with the red. I kind of feel like maybe some other things would have looked a little better. All right, so I've already covered this BMW setup in a lot of other videos. I'll kind of link them out here, but this is the pretty typical setup that you have in most BMWs from like, anywhere from 2019 to the most recent years. The newer BMWs, like the X1 that I recently reviewed, the redesigned 2023, has this interesting like curved one display thing here. So it looks a lot more modern than this setup, but I actually don't know if it's more functional. Honestly, at the end of the day, this setup with all the physical buttons doesn't look as clean as the new curved display, but it does look on. It's honestly just a lot more functional. So I don't know, people who want physical HVAC controls are going to have to go for an older model like this. But I will say in probably the redesigned 2025 X3 that is coming out, I assume it's going to have that curved display as well, and probably run something like iDrive 9 maybe by then. This is still using iDrive 7, so this is their older system. So let's talk about this screen first. This is a 12.3-inch infotainment screen. This is actually the upgraded one, and it does run Apple CarPlay. It looks really good, very high quality, and it kind of takes up the entire screen, which I like. And it's fast, super fast to respond. Everything is easy to use. I really liked iDrive 7. I do think iDrive 8 does look a little neater and it looks more iPhone-like, but at the end of the day, this is just so usable, and I really like the way they lay out their settings here. So everything is just in the settings button here, very easy to go through. And everything is super responsive, and I like how it highlights the thing when you like hover over it, right? So you have the doors, interior lighting, climate control, like whatever else, right? So it's really easy to navigate the settings, and I love when cars put all their settings in one place. I will say the only thing that's missing from that area is sound settings, in which you have to go somewhere else. But aside from that, I like this setup a lot. It does have the carrying car, which I think is the funniest thing in the world. Basically does random things with the music and the lights, ambient lighting, things like that. Ambient lighting in this car looks pretty good. I'll show you what it looks like at night. You do only have a few different colors though to choose from, so it's not the most configurable thing, but I expect that soon they'll offer some sort of like 64 different way ambient lighting or something like that. And as we move down throughout the center stack here, you do have completely physical HVAC controls, very, very nice. You can adjust the power, the temperature, your heated seats, auto, all that sort of good stuff here. Here are your presets for your radio, which I don't know if anyone will ever use, so totally reasonable to remove this. You've got a nice kind of like cover right here for your cup holders, and I assume a wireless charging pad would go here if you spec that out. You do have a USB-A right there as well. And you do have a nice little aluminum thing that says X3. So kind of a cool little look. I think that's probably the only place that actually on the inside says X3. Otherwise, this is the very traditional BMW setup that you've seen in a lot of other vehicles. Start-stop button here. You would have a 360 camera here if this one had that specs, but otherwise everything is pretty much laid out easily here. I kind of wish we had a dial for selecting this. Like, honestly, replacing this with a dial to select your drive modes would be really cool. With sport mode is actually really interesting. So you can actually have standard sport mode or sport plus, which is kind of interesting for a vehicle that is definitely not, you know, this is not supposed to be a high performance SUV or anything like that. But yeah, this setup is fine. The rotary dial does control the infotainment system as well. I don't really know how many people will use it though, honestly. Like really just, the touchscreen is very, very easy to use. So don't really think this is honestly necessary. But yeah, you've got a nice bit of space here where you can store some different things, and you do have a charging outlet right there as well. Only USB-A though, no USB-C right now. Let's go to the steering wheel right here. You've got the M Sport steering wheel that comes with that M Sport package I mentioned before. Honestly, there's nothing really remotely like sporty about this. Doesn't even have like the little line at the top of the steering wheel here, but otherwise, like it's a pretty nice steering wheel. It is very thick. I do like the grips. It feels good, and it's very functional, very easy to use. This is obviously your volume button. This is skip track all on one side, very easy to use, and this is all of your radar cruise control functionality. So really easy to use. Going into here, you've got the 12.3 inch, actually I think this is a 10.25 inch screen for your digital instrument cluster. It's not the most configurable thing, like Audi and Mercedes definitely beat BMW for this, although I do think in the iDrive8 it's a bit more configurable. But yeah, it looks fine. There's a little button on your stalk right here that's called BC, which I still don't know what that means. But it does control what shows up here. So as you hit it, it kind of changes what shows up on the right side of your screen. Aside from that, not really too configurable. I think most people will have it set to something like this. You do have a digital speedometer there, and then everything you need to know is right there, right? What drive mode you're in, what gear you're in, the temperature outside, a blazing 96 degrees for Wisconsin right now, and how much range you have left in your gas tank. And of course you have that M there as well, right? Kind of an interesting thing to add because this is really not an M vehicle. And really quickly, I want to show you guys these cool looking brake pedal and accelerator pedals right here. I love this place where you can, you know, put your foot on. It actually has the M logo on it too. Isn't that so weird? They really stuck the M logo as many places as they could throughout this vehicle. All right, let's take a look at these door panels really quick. So I already said before that this is the aluminum trim. You have a few different options. I think there's like a dark wood grain and some other colors, but this one looks fine, I guess, with the red and black theme. You do have a Harman Kardon sound system, as you can see up here. Looks fine. It doesn't look particularly interesting, and the one on the actual door panel itself looks very boring and isn't even branded, so who knows what it is. The Harman Kardon sound system, really probably not worth the upgrade. It's like an $800 upgrade, so it's really not that much, but it doesn't seem that much better than any of the like normal sound systems that I see in luxury SUVs these days. So I don't know if it's really worth upgrading it to. Otherwise, you've got a lot of plastic at the bottom as expected, but you do have soft touch materials and leather kind of throughout the rest of the vehicle in the door panel, and it looks really, really good. All right, now we can make our way to the rear seats. I did want to say that the driver's side does have two-way memory, pretty nice. Passenger doesn't have any memory, but that's kind of expected for a vehicle at this price point. And I like this X logo. I can't tell if this stands for X3 or xDrive, or BMW nomenclature is always kind of confusing, right? And moving on to the second row of seats here in the X3, you will notice a very similarly appointed door panel. Looks really nice. You can get optional rear sunshades as well. And just looking at this color, I still love this perforated red. I love the red on black. I think it looks fantastic. You'll notice a very airy cabin on the inside, right? Like you've got a lot of space here, and you can see really well out of these large windows. This huge dual pane moonroof looks fantastic, and you have a lot of legroom. This is my normal seating position, and I have tons of legroom here. This is just really comfortable. The armrest is a really good area. You've got some good padded you know, areas right here. I do love that this is also red and not black. I think that's a really nice touch right here. And you can see the ambient lighting creeping in right now, and it just looks really good in the back. And I think passengers will be totally fine staying here for long car rides. These seats are fantastic and really, really comfortable. You do have some usability back here as well, some practicality. You've got a digital display for your temperature, and you have two USB-C chargers. So, you know, I really think this has everything you need in the back. You've got some nets here, which always look good and feel good. And you've got, as expected, kind of an armrest slash cup holder here. I don't know why this doesn't go farther down. That's kind of a weird thing, but these seats are kind of leaned back a little bit right now. You can recline them a little bit, which is kind of nice. Always a bit of a more luxurious feature to have rear seats that can actually recline. You can fold these 40-20-40, which is also pretty nice if you want to store some longer things in the back. You got ample cup holders and the exact same appointments. You've got leather, soft touch materials, and then plastic towards the bottom. All right, let's take the 2023 X3 out on a drive. So this is the xDrive30i, which means that this has all-wheel drive. It's a little more expensive than the standard rear-wheel drive one. You know, I'm pretty sure in Wisconsin they only sell these xDrives, but if you're buying a BMW, you probably want to know about its sporty nature, right? BMW's kind of lost that heritage over time, but let's kind of rev this one here. And it lives up to the BMW name tag. I think it's really nice. The exhaust actually sounds really nice, right? Like early in the review, I kind of walked through the exhaust sound, and I mean, I really like the exhaust sound of this vehicle. It sounds way better than the Q5 or the GLC. So if you're looking at those as competitors, this is definitely a little better. You might notice having some crazy gear shifts and stuff right now because I am in Sport Plus, which is kind of ridiculous for a vehicle that isn't even a high-performance vehicle, doesn't even have 300 horsepower, but it sounds good and it's fun. Like, honestly, if I'm the only person in the car, I think Sport or Sport Plus would be where I'd be sticking in, but comfort just really rears this car down and makes it very comfortable. I will say though, having to look down to switch my drive mode, kind of annoying, right? I want to be able to keep my eyes on the road while I adjust things, and I think BMW and just a lot of other car manufacturers are kind of putting things in screens, or, you know, I would love to have some sort of dial that I can just change. And that exhaust note I mentioned is not just for show. This car handles very well for a vehicle that is not a high-performance model, right? This car's just suspension and setup is just geared towards agility and good handling. This car corners much better than the GLC and the Q5. So if you're cross-shopping those vehicles, which I think a lot of people who are shopping for a vehicle in the luxury compact SUV market are, this car wins in terms of fun. Like, and that's cool because BMW wants to kind of win that area, right? BMW has always kind of been known as the most sporty out of vehicles. And I mean, this car looks really sporty, right? If this car had like red brake calipers or something like that, like, I would say, wow, I'm very surprised that this isn't a high performance vehicle like the X3M. This car almost has that look. And I mean, I guess, to be fair, that's what BMW is going for, right? There are so many M logos spread throughout this vehicle, and I mean, it feels almost like the M40i could be this vehicle, right? Aside from not having that much power, this car just, the actual suspension setup is just really great and so much fun. So really, I think this might be my favorite. I've driven the Q5 and GLC both pretty recently, and I think this one blows them out of the water. I think the looks of this car are fantastic, really good balance with, you know, not a huge kidney grill, but, you know, good looks and good body lines. And I mean, just overall, I'm just really, really impressed by this vehicle. I did not expect to like this that much because I drove an X3 maybe in 2018, and that one didn't really impress me that much, but I think BMW has come light years with just the general tech in this vehicle and also the luxury feeling. Like, I feel like they always had that sporty style and feel, but the tech and the luxury parts have really caught up to Mercedes and Audi. And so speaking of tech, this car has pretty much everything you want standard. You've got rear cross traffic alert. You do have radar cruise control, which is part of a package. Unfortunately, there is no semi-autonomous mode, so nothing like the autopilot where it actually keeps you in the lanes. But the radar cruise control worked fantastic, and it was very easy to use. This car does not have a 360 surround camera, unfortunately. That one also is in a package, but this does have blind spot monitors. You've got front and rear parking sensors, pretty much the whole shebang that you would expect from a luxury compact SUV. This car is easy to park, so I wouldn't really worry about having a 360 camera or not. It's pretty small, even though it feels spacious on the inside, and has class-leading cargo capacity, right? It has the practicality, it has the tech, it really has everything you want. So if you're looking for a vehicle in this class, I don't know if you can really beat the X3 at this point. This has always sold like hotcakes for BMW, right? It's one of their best-selling vehicles, and you can easily see why once you get behind the wheel of one of these things. And this vehicle is impressively quiet at highway speeds, right? I'm going almost 60 miles per hour right now, and it is comfortable, it is quiet. I mean, this is also a really good road, but it's all around really, really nice. I wish they had a better sound system, honestly. That's something that I would knock a little bit as an audiophile myself, but this car is so composed on the road, and you know, when you're in comfort mode, it doesn't even feel sporty, but then you put it in Sport or Sport Plus and you get that aggressive handling, the steering stiffens up, and it feels much more agile. So I mean, this car really is one of those jack-of-all-trade vehicles that if you like the looks of the car, if you want a BMW, you just can't go wrong at this price point. So So personally, I am very eager to see what BMW comes out with in terms of an electrified X3, which I hope is also coming in the near future. I think that would do really well, hopefully styled a little bit more, I don't know, less crazy than the iX, but I think it'll be a really nice vehicle when this becomes electrified. I would love to see, you know, what it looks like and just generally the tech behind it and the driving experience too. I think BMW is really hitting it out of the park with a lot of these newer vehicles, like the new X1 as well. And I mean, this car, it just kind of refines everything and makes it a little bigger than the X1, and that's a good thing. I have been seriously impressed with BMW's recent vehicles that I've driven, and this is no exception. So that's pretty much all I wanted to talk through today. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to subscribe, you can click down here. If you want to check out some of my other videos, click up here, and I will see you guys in the next review. Thanks everyone. Bye.